This is KiniNews and I'm your host Prasad, bringing you today's top headlines. On Monday, the court returned Zaid Hamidi's passport so he could travel to Germany for medical treatment. Today, the court returned Rosmah Mansor's passport so she could travel to Singapore. What about Najib Razak's passport? He's going to feel left out.
Rosmah Mansor will be allowed to travel to Singapore for a month to attend to her daughter, who is expected to give birth there. This is after the Kuala Lumpur High Court today temporarily allowed her access to her passport. Judge Mohamed Zaini Mazlan allowed the application by the accused's defense counsel, Jagjit Singh. The judge ruled that her passport will be returned to her today and must be returned to the court by or before December 6. Zaini also ruled that Rosmah is only allowed to travel overseas to Singapore from October 21st and must return to Malaysia on or before November 21st. Zaini noted that today's ruling takes into account the 14-day quarantine period when Rosmah comes back to Malaysia from Singapore. Rosmah is facing 3 charges under Section 16(a) of the MACC Act.
Now that Rosmah could be on her way to Singapore for a month, Najib is also applying to have his passport returned as well.
Former Prime Minister Najib Abdul Razak applied for the temporary release of his passport at the Court of Appeal today. This was so that he could fly to Singapore to be with his daughter, who is expected to give birth there. Earlier today, the Kuala Lumpur High Court allowed a similar application for his wife, Rosmah Mansor, for temporary access to her passport. Najib's lawyer, Nur Shahira Hanabiya, confirmed that they had filed the application at the Court of Appeal recently. However, she did not reveal the specific time period that Najib is seeking from the court for his visit. The hearing of Najib's passport-related application is set to proceed before the Court of Appeal on Monday. Najib had surrendered his 2 passports in July 2018 after he was first charged over the SRC case. On May 18, 2021, a 3-person Court of Appeal bench reserved its decision to a date to be fixed later, after 15 days of proceeding on his appeal.
UMNO leaders met last night, but Malacca doesn't seem to be an issue they can resolve in one meeting. They're still unsure about their approach to the polls.
UMNO has yet to finalise its approach on the upcoming Malacca election, according to the party's state chairperson, Rauf Yusof. He told reporters today that the party will hold further meetings before deciding. He said this following last night's UMNO Supreme Council meeting at Menara Dato' On, Kuala Lumpur. The council had met to decide whether to cooperate with Perikatan Nasional in the state election. Meanwhile, UMNO Secretary General Ahmad Maslan said the party will make preparations to face the Malacca polls. Previously, UMNO President Ahmad Zaid Hamidi said the party will not cooperate with neither Bersatu nor PAS in the state election.
The reason UMNO is undecided may have something to do with its 2 top leaders having different opinions on the matter.
UMNO President Ahmad Zaid Hamidi and his deputy Muhammad Hassan have differing views on whether the party will go into the Malacca election alone or otherwise. According to UMNO Secretary General Ahmad Maslan, both are still seeking feedback before the party makes a decision.
Presiden dia ada pandangan, timbalan Presiden ada pandangan, tapi mereka juga mencari maklum balas. Kita sedang mencari maklum balas.
Ahmad said this during a press conference in Malacca today. Previously, Zahid stated publicly that the party will not work with Bersatu during the Malacca election. He also said the party has to respect the decision made at its annual General Assembly in March to not work with Bersatu. As for PAS, Zahid said that he did not see a bright light for Perikatan Nasional to manifest itself at the Malacca election.
Now we have a message from our sponsor. If you don't have time for it, that's okay. Just skip to our next story. We'll be back right after 2 minutes.
Shellfish, red meat, and beer. If you love indulging in these foods, you may end up with high uric acid level in your blood. These foods consist high level of purine, a substance that will eventually break down into uric acid and be excreted through our urine. It is recommended that the amount of dietary purines should be kept between 600 to 1000 milligrams per day. Having too much uric acid in your blood can cause attacks of gout. It can also cause kidney stones and blockage in the kidney. The crystallization of the excessive uric acid in your blood can be eased by reducing purine-rich food to only 100 to 150 milligrams daily, maintaining a healthy lifestyle, and consuming urinary alkalinizer like Ural. It consists of sodium bicarbonate, citric acid, and sodium citrate that increases the urinary pH and solubility of uric acid to prevent crystallization. Best of all, it's lemon-flavored and sugar-free. Uric, effective urinary alkalinizer. Neutralize your uric acid problem now.
Two cleaning supervisors have appeared to have made a large mess after they were arrested for allegedly assaulting beggars near KOMPLEKS Tower.
Two men have been arrested for allegedly beating up beggars in the vicinity of the KOMPLEKS Tower in Penang. Now, the tower's management is set to meet representatives from a clearing service that employed the suspects. KOMPLEKS Assemblyperson Tay Lai Heng said he was informed that the Chief Executive Officer of PDC Setia Urus, representing KOMPLEKS management, has set the meeting for next week. Speaking to Malaysia Kini, Tay said the suspects were cleaning supervisors. Yesterday, police arrested the two men, aged 43 and 27, who were seen in several viral video clips using a cane on beggars at the KOMPLEKS Tower, which also houses the Penang Chief Minister's office. One video even showed a disabled person who was bleeding from the head as a result of the beating.
Now that Malaysians are free to travel interstate, soon the country may also open its international borders.
National Recovery Council Chairperson Muhyiddin Yassin said the government will discuss reopening the country's borders to fully vaccinated foreign travellers. He said this could be done through a mutual recognition of vaccine certificates.
Ini satu perkembangan yang positif dalam proses pembukaan sempadan negara yang saya pasti akan merancangkan semula kegiatan ekonomi terutamanya dalam sektor pelancongan, konvensyen antarabangsa, peruncitan dan lain-lain.
The council was also informed of the government's plan to discuss whether to abolish the 14-day compulsory quarantine or impose a shorter quarantine period for international travellers. Currently, foreigners can only enter Malaysia for emergency matters, business and official affairs. On October 10th, Prime Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob said the government was mulling reopening borders to international tourists.
The government has been countering misinformation spread by anti-vaxxers, but now it's going to take one step further by lodging police reports against them.
The Health Ministry has lodged several police reports against anti-vaccine groups who spread false information that threaten public health. This was revealed by Health Minister Khairy Jamaluddin in a post on Twitter today. In his post, Khairy said these groups have continuously spread false news, threaten the safety of the public and are annoying. And he hoped that follow-up action, including investigation and prosecution, could be expedited. He said this in reply to a tweet by a doctor who had questioned the impunity of the anti-vaccine groups in the country. A week ago, Khairy had also issued a similar order to the MOH, where he instructed the ministry to lodge a report against a netizen who had allegedly spread lies about the COVID-19 vaccination program. The netizen had posted a list of teachers who died recently and claimed that their deaths were caused by the COVID-19 vaccine. Khairy has said that there is a time to educate and engage, but there is also a time to enforce the law.
Former Attorney General Tommy Thomas is being sued by Sundra Raju over alleged wrongful arrest and prosecution. Former Asian International Arbitration Centre Director and Sundra Raju has filed a lawsuit against former Attorney General Tommy Thomas and 12 others. Sundra's lawyer TJ Lee confirmed that the writ of summons was filed in the High Court in Kuala Lumpur this morning. On September 8th, Sundra's lawyers issued a letter of demand to Thomas and 8 MACC officials to issue a written apology and pay 10 million ringgit over purported misfeasance of public office and malicious prosecution. On April 30th this year, the federal court ruled that Sundra is entitled to immunity from prosecution for alleged acts committed while in office. Sundra claimed that he was subjected to false imprisonment, malicious prosecution and violation of his fundamental rights under Articles 5 and 8 of the Federal Constitution. And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news updates. If you'd like to support independent media, do consider subscribing to MalaysiaKini.com. I'm Prasad Michael. Thank you for watching.